I want this to be available also on YouTube, so I'm recording the video here of how you can get to your highest performing self, have that energy that you want, instead of maybe right now you're struggling. You're like, what the heck? I don't have the energy I want. I'm a highly driven professional. I work hard, yet my energy is decreasing. And it should be increasing, right? Because I'm eating whole foods, I'm working out, I'm exercising, all these things. Like, what gives? What is happening? Because many of you, high-performing professionals that you are, you take this seriously, yet somehow you're still running out of energy. Not because you're lazy, right? Not because you've lost discipline. It's not about that. But it's something deeper, right? Maybe you've told your provider, hey, I'm pushing it. I'm doing the things. I'm exercising, but it's not helping. It feels harder. I don't have the energy I used to. I wake up tired. I'm sleeping 7 to 8 hours. I'm still tired. Like, what the heck? My focus is not where it used to be. I just don't feel like myself. And your provider says, well, let's run some labs. And they do the usual labs. And no, they're normal. You're fine. This is just aging. Like, BS. I called that out last week. If you didn't listen to that show on the labs that you should have checked, the 7 most common labs that are not checked by most doctors and providers out there. And they get you a little bit deeper, and then they tell you where you need to go next. And there's a bunch of other stuff, but these are a place to start, right? You got to test and not guess. It's not your fault. You may not know these things. Your doctor certainly most likely doesn't know these things. And here's the dangerous part. Most people, most providers just say it's part of getting older. Maybe it's just part of burnout. Like, are you burning out? Like, it's more than that. What if I told you this is not just a thing in your head? It's not just psychological. It's actually biological. It's actually biological. And if you don't address the biology, you're not going to get there. You're not going to get to where you need to go. You're not going to get to the root cause. You're not going to go deep enough. This is not just, you got to think differently. You got to have these positive thoughts. You got to change your story, whatever it is. Like, all that's important stuff, but it's biology too. You got to address the biology. There's no amount of mindset, no amount of motivation or just pushing harder. It's not going to get you there. You need a little bit more, right? You got to go deeper. You got to see what's going on. You got to think of burnout a different way, right? It's not just, stress or overwhelm or there's too much on your plate. And yeah, that's part of it. I don't mean to undermine that, but that's not the whole picture. There's actually biology happening at the microscopic, submicroscopic, the molecular level that most folks are not addressing. I see it clinically every single day. And it's the result, the burnout is the result of this biological mismatch. It's physiologic, right? This means that your lifestyle, the amount of stress that you have, the demands, these are outpacing your body's ability to make energy, produce that, right? That ATP, the stuff that actually gets you moving, gets you going, that supplies all the energy that keeps you alive each and every day, that runs your metabolism, right? It's getting outpaced by the load that you're putting on yourself, whether it be stress, whether it be lifestyle stuff, the demands, whatever. And maybe you're not recovering as optimally as you need to, because recovery it's critical. It's huge. It's super important. Also, the regulators, like this isn't just going to regulate itself. You need to learn these tools to regulate it better. And let's smile for a moment. I'm going to give you this. You're going to get there. I'm going to tell you the things that will help, the things that you can go to, the key steps that will get you there. This is what we're doing this show about, right? Because here's the thing. There is evidence out there, and a lot of folks are unaware of it. They don't know where to take it to make that sort of rubber meet the road, so to speak. Like, what do we do with this? We're hearing that, 90% of Americans are biologically not healthy, or they're metabolically unhealthy, or they have insulin resistance. Well, what does that even mean? What does it mean? Like, what do I do next? Maybe I'm one of those people, because chances are we are, right? 9 out of 10 people here in the U.S. are metabolically not optimally healthy, and they may have insulin resistance. But what do we do next? Well, here's the thing. We know that, it's no surprise, no mystery, that the stress that we go through living our daily lives, it's real. It's a real thing, and it affects the rhythm of our body. It's called the HPA axis, the hypothalamus pituitary axis. And it even goes deeper. We'll talk about how that affects the thyroid, how it affects the adrenals. Like it's a real thing. It affects your ability to produce energy. We talked about this just a moment ago, right? The mitochondria produce the energy. It's important we address this, the way that you recover, right? Your sleep architecture, for example. We gotta look at that. There's this cool article written a couple years ago by McEwen, and even before that, a guy named Krauss, who were talking about this so-called the allostatic load. And what that means is that this is not just something that's in your head. You just don't will yourself in and out of being burned out. It's way more than that. This actually is occurring on a cellular level in your body, in those teensy tiny little cells that make you up, that make you you. But here's the trap, right? We're all high performers. We want to think ourselves out of this. We want to go to another conference and get another mindset adjustment and change our story. That's all phenomenal. I go to so many events like that, right? Change your story, change your life. One of my favorite things that Tony Robbins has said over the years. And it's part of the package. You got to do that. It's so important. But there's more too to be done. There's more that will really change the physiology. He wouldn't disagree. He loves talking about physiology, right? It's your physiology. It's your focus. It's the meaning. Like those things are so critical and crucial. The physiology is biology, right? So here's the pattern. I see this all the time, right? You're pushing yourself. You're maybe having some fatigue. You're tired. You feel stressed out, but you keep pushing yourself and you just override the body signals. You're like, oh, I can push harder. I can do more. I am strong. I am whatever it is, fill in the blank. And that's great. The I am statements, I love those. But you got to address the underlying physiology. You can't just drink another Red Bull or whatever your favorite energy drink is. And there's better ones out there now. There's one that I drink often, and I can share that with you if you reach out, that I like way better than anything that's commercially available that you can just go to your Quick Mart or whatever that is for you and grab a quick energy drink. There's way better way better choices out there available. They may not be in all the quick marts yet or the 7-Elevens. I was just in Tokyo, and man, 7-Eleven is a whole different, it's like a mini mall over there. They have like all this different stuff. It's like a miniature, I would call it a miniature grocery store. Like the 7-Elevens in Japan are legit. Like you can buy fruit, you can buy, I mean, it was pretty surprising. You can buy all our local dishes, right? You've heard of all the local dishes. I mean, beyond just things like sushi and the noodle dishes, but they have so many things over there. It's really interesting. But anyway, I digress. You can't rely just on caffeine to just push through, right? Or your mindset. You might be delaying the recovery that we talked about. And you might just normalize, well, this is just part of life. I'm under a lot of stress. I'm working hard. I may not be sleeping enough. I'm in midlife, like whatever. You might just try to rationalize it away. And maybe for a while you can up the ante. You're like, push through, push harder, blah, blah, go. And that might work for a little while until it doesn't. It's not working anymore. This is cyclical, right? Your stress goes up, your energy drops, your recovery, you just try to push through, and then your recovery suffers. Your hormones will actually start to shift. They'll even drift. And nobody's checking these things commonly, right? And then your energy drops again even further, and then you're just stuck in this loop, and you're chasing your tail, and you think, push hard, I can do this. And maybe you adjust a couple things. Maybe you try to eat a little bit more whole foods and whatever, but you're not going to the root, and you just get stuck. You get stuck in this loop. So all of us have this happen at one point or another. This has happened to me. I've been there. I've been in that loop, and I'm just, push harder, go to another event, get more energy, get more animated, get more motivated, push harder. You got this. And that's part of it, but you can't just push harder. You got to look at all the signals, right? You got to look at what's happening in your body biologically. Like, what are your hormones doing? What's happening to your thyroid, to your adrenals, right? The cortisol. What's happening to your T, your testosterone, your estrogen, your progesterone, oxytocin? What's happening to all these things, right? Do you have insulin resistance? Well, I talked about this last week, and 9 out of 10 of us here in the US have it. And I would say 90% of us don't even know we have it. So here's the thing. Let's break it down. We'll talk about this cycle a little bit more deeply here, because there's things that can affect it, right? What we have in common, all of us have 24 hours in a day. There's a cycle. And that's for a good reason, because we're not supposed to go days and days on end without the reset, without the recovery, right? That's why we need to sleep. And we didn't even know why we needed to sleep when I was in medical school like 30 years ago. We just knew that you had to do it. And when you didn't perform well. You actually got disease quicker. You may be more predisposed to heart disease, cancer, all these kinds of things. We didn't know why. We didn't know why you needed to sleep. We just needed to sleep. Like that was it. That's what I was taught. We don't know why, but I had this amazing neurology professor. He was awesome and taught me so many things, but he's like, I just can't tell you why you need to sleep. I mean, we think, your body needs to recover, blah, blah, blah. They hadn't discovered the brain's lymphatic system, right? That's the housekeeping of the brain that gets out all the toxins and flush, the reset, the recovery that happens overnight. That hadn't even been discovered when I was in medical school. That happened about 8 years later. I think it was around 2006, 2007. right? And we know that now. We know why. The why is important, but we can't cheat it, right? There's a lot of these influencers out there that talk about cheating sleep, and I'm a short sleeper. I'm one of these 0.004% that only needs 4 to 6 hours a night. Well, chances are you're not actually. And it's affecting you. Even the greats that profess that they don't sleep much. Oh, we get so much done. I'll just infuse stem cells instead and I'll cheat sleep. Well, the greats that understand this have told them, you can't do that. You can't cheat sleep. You can't cheat recovery, right? Because what's happening? Your cortisol is all jacked up, right? Your melatonin is dropping. And that's one of the best anti-inflammatory hormones that exist. Most people never talk about that. Your recovery is suffering. Even these small disruptions that we don't think about, right? Maybe looking at our phones a little bit late into the evening, watch a little bit too much Netflix or whatever it is, like inconsistently, we're not sleeping well. All these things will go and degrade, take away from our energy. This circadian, 24-hour cycle, the misalignment is linked to actually so many diseases, right? Not just the metabolic dysfunction we're talking about, the insulin resistance that many of us have, but also our glucose tolerance is affected immediately. That it's shown, just one night of insufficient sleep can cause impaired glucose tolerance. I've actually seen that. I had my blood work checked one time because it was convenient. I had just done a night shift at the hospital. I walked out of my night shift and went straight to the lab, had my blood glucose checked, and it was 95. I'm like, what the heck? That's like borderline diabetic. What are you talking about? It's 95? Well, I'd just been up all night. Like, I didn't really understand this at the time, but it makes sense. This happens. You can see it. I mean, your cognitive performance wanes if you don't get the recovery that you need, for example. You're not addressing these things. Blood sugar instability, that's something I see all the time, right? You feel like you're on this roller coaster. Your blood sugar goes up, it goes down. And you have energy. You don't have energy 2 hours later. You eat something, then you don't have energy 2 hours later. You're just on this roller coaster all the time. This is no good. We've all had it happen. Maybe some of you have this happen right now. Well, there's something that can be done. Something I discovered about a decade ago that has helped me tremendously is just beyond just simple diet and lifestyle, like eat whole foods. There's some supplementation that can help with this as well. Keep your blood sugar even, keel, and balanced so you're not having these peaks and valleys, right? Because they cause fatigue. They cause you to be foggy and unclear, and your energy suffers tremendously. Like, we know way more about this now, right? We know that blood sugar variability is not amazing, and we can even measure it. If you never measured it, you never done a CGM, a continuous glucose monitor, like, it's so insightful. I do this every couple of years because I learn new things. I'm like, holy crap, like that food did that to me. That's like a real fresh food. Like, I used to eat a bunch of pineapple, for example. I eat pineapple rarely now because it spikes my blood sugar. I like it, but instead of eating, 2, 3, 4 pieces, maybe I'll just have a little wedge because I like the taste, because it didn't do good things for my blood sugar, for example. Another thing that we're not thinking about often, but it's at the root of almost every disease, and that's chronic low-grade inflammation. You don't always feel that it's there, but it is there, right? You can get the look under the hood like we talked about last week, called the highly sensitive CRP, to measure that. What drives this? It's things like stress, things like poor sleep, gaps in your nutrition, metabolic dysfunction we talked about a little bit. And this low-grade inflammation directly impacts your energy production. What's happening in the mitochondria? It's impeding its optimal production of that energy source, the currency called ATP. Like, inflammation is no good in the mitochondria. It's no good really anywhere in your body unless you're healing from a wound or acute illness or whatever. And then that's acute inflammation. That's just right now on purpose. But the chronic inflammation that we see day in, day out with most people, causing the brain fog, causing the weight gain, the blood sugar instability, and predisposing you to things like heart disease, cancer, Alzheimer's, dementia, etc. Those are the things that often go unchecked. They are kind of these early warning signals of the body whispering to you, but you're not feeling it, and your doctor didn't find it because they didn't do the test. They did a fasting glucose, not a fasting insulin. They didn't get the whole picture. Maybe they didn't do the highly sensitive CRP. Maybe they missed the ApoB. Maybe they missed some of these things, yet they're affecting you on a deeper biologic level, like we're sharing about. These markers, we talked about this last week, the highly sensitive CRP, for example, C-reactive protein, are directly linked to fatigue and decreased performance. Like, this was known back in 2008. We're barely starting to talk about it now in 2026. That's the problem with Western medicine. It's like 20 years behind. Like, what the heck? And what about the hormones? What's going on with those? Like, right now, present day, I shared last week that if you're 30 and you're a guy, chances are your testosterone is dropping. Like there's so many things, right? The water we're drinking, the plastics that are in those bottles, the inflammation that we're exposed to through eating things that are highly processed inflammatory foods, right? The grays and whites and things that don't have color, the highly processed grains and flours and sugars that we're often eating without even thinking about it, right? Maybe we're having fruit juice and there's a ton of sugar in there. We didn't even think about that, right? Like these are the things that are affecting us whether we like it or not. There's now evidence that shows that most guys after the age of 30 are having their testosterone significantly drop each and every year. There's also altered estrogen balance in most women over 30. Like, what the heck? There's this thing called perimenopause that can last up to 10, 12 years, and we're barely now starting to talk about it. Like, what the heck? It's happening, but nobody's looking into it. Nobody's doing the tests, right? Well, here's the thing. You feel it, right? You have less drive than you used to. You're not recovering as quickly. And this all related to these underlying things like the hormonal drift that I'm talking about here. And it's not your fault. You didn't know. Your doctor probably didn't know, but there's so much more that can be done. First, you got to look, right? Test and don't guess. You got to have a look. And don't worry if you're having any of these symptoms. Most of these things can be quickly changed over the course of weeks to months. That's why I've developed these programs to help you, whether it be my accelerator program, which is a look under the hood, the deep dive labs that you really need to get in a plan that you can execute over the next 60 to 90 days to change some things. Like this is the starting point, right? To get at least some information and get some initial assessments, some personalization to kind of see what's happening out there. It's my accelerator program. You can have access to that. Just message me and we'll talk about how that works. So here's the thing. I just want to stop for a moment. And if you thought in the last few minutes that, crap, I'm experiencing some of these things, right? My energy's not where it used to be. I've tried to push through at times and I didn't really think about things like recovery. I didn't really think about things like ongoing chronic inflammation. And I didn't think about like what's happening to my brain or at a molecular level, physiologic level. Like, where are my hormones going? Why don't I have the energy, the drive, the strength, the energy? Like, what's happening to me? I'm not sleeping as well. And you may have thought, well, I noticed that, but I didn't really know what to do. Maybe I went to my doctor, or maybe I didn't, but maybe I got some labs done. They said they're fine. I'm just getting older. Like, if that's you, don't worry. It's fine. There's so much that can be done. But here's the important thing. You don't ignore it. Even if your doctor tells you, oh, you're just getting older, like, call BS on that. There's so much that you can do, right? And that's why I developed the accelerator labs and strategy session. We'll talk about that more later. You can message me if you want more info. But here's the thing. Like, if you're noticing these things, that's great. Like that light bulb moment is amazing. Now you might just need to do something, right? Because pushing harder, it only works for so long, usually not very long, right? It stops working because there's a shift. It's not just effort. You got to be precise and directed. It's where the precision really comes into play. You can't just push harder, push longer, ignore these signals. You just can't outwork poor sleep. You just can't do it. I'm probably the greatest example that I tried for decades to just get by, sleep less. I didn't want to miss anything. I wanted to use all that time to either work or learn or be with my kids or go surfing or whatever. And I wasn't giving my body the recovery it deserved and that it critically needed. And that's why my fasting insulin was creeping up. I had no idea, right? Maybe you're trying to just take supplements, but yet you're avoiding the deeper roots of what's causing the inflammation at the molecular level. Like, supplements are great. I take several handfuls each and every day. And if you want to know, just message me. I'll tell you. I'm not ashamed. I take all different supplements from all different companies. I have kind of a go-to for my basic set. And then I add another dozen on top of that, because maybe more. I love supplements, but they do not supplement for a crappy lifestyle choice, right? You can't just eat crappy food and expect the supplement's going to make it all go away. It's just change the lifestyle factors first, add the supplements that you may need. And if you don't know what you may need, message me, reach out. We can have a little chat. So here's the thing. This is common, right? If you felt burned out, I'm raising my hand. I'll be the first to say I felt burned out at many times during my life. I didn't know exactly what to do about it. And so I've developed what you can do about it. In fact, I'll walk you through it right now. Get a pen and paper, or just re-listen to this a couple of times. I have a 4-part reset. I'll walk you through it. The first thing you got to do starts with your morning, right? I'm not going to call it the miracle morning. It doesn't take an hour. It takes a couple of minutes. You got to anchor that circadian rhythm. I talked about that before. You got to anchor this biology with a light exposure. Number one, get outside in the first 1 to 2 hours of the day for 5 minutes. If you can do 10 and walk around the block a lap or two and get the fresh air and the movement, like phenomenal. But get out there for a couple of minutes. Have the daylight hit your eyes. It'll set that rhythm for the day. And it'll be one of the most strong predictors of if you're going to sleep well that night. This is imperative. It's important. It's profound. Set that each and every day. Make that a part of your daily habit. Light exposure in the first couple hours of the day. If you can add movement to that with a quick walk around the block, hydrate, drink that 16 ounces of water I've talked about when you first plop out of bed. Like you get dehydrated overnight, whether you like it or not, right? We're not waking up and drinking because we don't want to get up and pee, especially if you're over 50 like me. You don't want to drink a bunch of water before bed, right? I'll have to pee a bunch of times. I don't want that. So I get dehydrated at night. First thing I wake up, tall glass of water, maybe a little bit of salt in there, maybe a squeeze of lemon or lime, whatever. And then your first meal of the day, I've talked about this before, many times before, protein packed, especially if you want to feel great and not feel hungry all the time. Or if you want to lose weight, you got to start with protein. Protein is key, critical, primordial, like protein first, protein forward. Yes, you can't skip this. It's so important. And if you want to build muscle mass like me, you got to have it. Next thing you got to think about is how do you stabilize your blood sugar? Well, part of it is just what I said, tall glass of water in the morning, some movement, prioritize your protein, start with that. Make sure you also have, besides the protein, have some healthy fats. You can have some carbs too, but make that kind of later in the meal, right? Eat the carbs at the end of the meal. You'll reduce the spikes. You won't feel like you got to keep snacking all the day. You don't want to be snacking all day long. Like whoever said you got to eat every 2 to 3 hours is BS. There's no data that says you got to do that. Eat real square meals, right? With primarily protein, healthy fat as well. Some carbs is good too, especially if it's coming from whole foods, fruits and vegetables, right? For example, don't get in the juice, right? Don't drink the juice, eat the fruit. Dr. Benjamin Bickman, I had him on the podcast like 5 years ago. That was like the line most people walked away with, eat the fruit. Don't just drink juice, eat the fruit. So much better for you, way better for your glucose. Another thing you got to think about is the recovery. This is often ignored. I ignored it for many decades. Think about your sleep. Is it consistent? Are you getting 7 to 8 hours? 78 out of 24 is not impossible. You're right. It is impossible. 7 or 8, or somewhere in between. Is it consistent? Is it the same time every day? Are you reducing the blue lights at night? Like all these things are important. You got to support the circadian rhythm. It's so key, critical, and crucial. I talk about it in my book, actually. I have a whole chapter, maybe 2 on circadian rhythm. If you haven't got the book, Preventable, 5 Powerful Practices to Avoid Disease and Build Unshakable Health, start there. Grab the book. It's cheap, 20-some bucks. And you get all this info as a starting point. Read the book, Preventable. You also got to optimize your hormones. You can't ignore this kind of stuff. Yes, you got to check. Don't guess, test and don't guess, but then get a plan. Get with somebody that's been there, that knows the ropes, that can look at it from a performance lens, from a functional, integrative lens. Find that person, whether it be me, somebody else, I don't care, but just find that person because this will make a huge difference. You got to know what your next step is. You got to get targeted. You got to get the right labs done and then make some targeted interventions that are personal to you that make sense. That's how you rebuild your biology from the ground up. It's biology. It's not lack of willpower. It's not that you're not pushing hard. You're pushing really hard, but you need to incorporate these other things. So I just gave you 4 things that can profoundly affect your day-to-day, both energy-wise, decrease inflammation. So here's the thing. I'm going to wrap this up. I want to keep this tight because I know you're busy. I don't want to take a lot of your time, but I want to make sure you have these practical tips. So if you need to get those 4, re-listen to the last 10 minutes. We talked about all 4. I'll try to summarize them for you. Also, I'll drop a PDF, link it up in the show notes, or it'll be on my website. I want this to be easy for you. I want it to be accessible. I want to help you. So if there's one thing you go away with today, it's that burnout, it may be happening to you. It's happened to me many times. Burnout is not because of lack of motivation. It's not that you're weak. It's not that. It's physiologic. It's biologic. It's a loss of the capacity, the recovery that we talked about. You're not doing anything wrong. You just didn't know what you didn't know. And that's why we're all here together. So thank you for being here. The good news, that capacity that maybe you're missing out on, that loss of biologic capacity, it can be rebuilt. It can be rebuilt a day at a time. And actually can happen pretty quickly over the course of 60, 90 days. And then if you keep that up over months, you can have that energy that you've always wanted. You can do the things that you want to do. So if you're ready to stop guessing, You want to understand exactly what's happening in your body? Like, message me. We can talk. We can see how I can help you or refer you to somebody else that can help you. Like, we're in this together. I want you to live your life in such a way that you have that energy, you have that desire, you have that chutzpah, you feel good, you wake up in the morning energized and excited for the day. I don't want you to dread your life. I want you to love your life. Whether you have, minutes, hours, days, years, a decade or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 decades like me, I'm hoping to have left to just get this out there to the world so 100 million people don't have to die from preventable causes. Have something to drive you, right? The Japanese call it the ikigai. That's kind of like the purpose. You were born to do something amazing. Every one of you has within you. It's already there. It's already there. The tools are already there. You have it inside of you. You've got this. You can do this. And if you want a guide or somebody to help you along the way, message me. We'll reach out, see if we can work together. But I want you to go away with this today on a positive note, knowing that there's so much that you can do. Life is good. God is great. There's so much to look forward to. It doesn't matter where you're at today. That can change, and it can change pretty quickly. So if you want to know how to go forward, message me. If you want to know what are the labs, I can send you a PDF that has the 7 most commonly missed labs. If you want to know how to formulate a plan, we can talk about that. It's here. I'm here, and I'm excited that you're here. Thank you for being a part of this. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thanks for taking the time. If this has helped you at all in any way, feel free to share it. Reach out to somebody that you think could benefit. I would love it if you shared this. This is what turns me on. It gets me fired up and excited that people are living their lives better, happier, more energized, more grateful, smiling. That's what I want for you. So feel free to reach out. Dr. Thomas Hemingway on Instagram, Thomas Hemingway MD on Facebook, ThomasHemingway.com. I'm here for you. A big aloha. I appreciate you. It's been so much fun over the years, and I hope to do this many more years. But you're the reason. If you haven't dropped me a review yet, please do that. Please, please, please send me a message. Let me know what you're loving and learning. Do it over there on Apple or give me a thumbs up on Spotify, wherever. I would just love to hear about it. Tag me. Share it out, because this is meant to be shared, understood, appreciated, because I, at a minimum, want to help 100 million people, not die of preventable causes. And hopefully one of them is you. So thanks for being here. And until next time, big aloha.